What's going on, family? Back with another JT's mixtape, episode number 23. Yeah, I think it's 23. And if you guys are enjoying these mixtapes, please give me a 5-star review, either Apple or Spotify. And if you're listening on YouTube or watching, please subscribe. Thank you.
Come closer, my child.
What's going on, Brian?
Oh, nothing much, man. Excited for all the wonderful, exciting things going on in the world today. Did you hear that they tried to give the Statue of Liberty? France, some politician tried to ask for it back. Did you hear about that?
Yes, please. Well, exactly. How should we ship it?
I know. That's my vote. My vote is let's get rid of that thing. Like, absolutely. Let's destroy that thing. I mean, I'm totally down. But, I think it's comical that some supposed French politician, unnamed, because, obviously they don't want to reveal their identity, who would dare ask for such a preposterous thing. Ask for it back. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, in the truther community, we've all made countless videos about that statue, and it's not Lady Liberty. It's not a lady at all. That's a man. That's a dude. That's Apollo. That's Helios. That's Lucifer. And yeah, as we've often mentioned,
Lightbringer.
Very, very bizarre symbolism. If it's not, because what does the chain around the ankle symbolize if it's not about some demonic entity being unloosed on the world?
Seems very suspicious. I have another theory. We'll have to save for the Ancient Angels podcast. I'm going to tell you about it. But I have another theory about the four horsemen of the apocalypse, because Apollo's chariot, he's always led behind the four horsemen.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And of course, we talked about it, and maybe we'll get into some videos about this, about how there's often symbolism on state capitol buildings and different old world buildings showing some kind of a either emperor looking guy or some kind of a Greek Roman deity with four horses with them. We talked about that. That was also in like the Minnesota state capitol building. Yeah, that symbolism is lots of places.
Yep. Pretty interesting, to say the least.
This is just maybe a preview of something to come, and this might be something for Brian's channel. I'm not sure, but some people sent me a video earlier today about that showed David and Goliath. Have you seen that? That's on Amazon Prime.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Well, it looks pretty interesting. I guess it's a series, and it showed something about like the Watchers and the Sons of God. It actually gets into that. So I thought maybe
I did see a clip for that. I didn't realize that was for what that was about, though. I had no clue that it was for a movie for David and Goliath. I didn't know they were making
it's a series on Amazon Prime. But I was thinking like maybe we should watch it, and maybe we should give our thoughts about it.
Yeah, do a review. Well,
yeah. Yeah, I think that would be
I'd
fun.
be open to it.
Yeah. You're gonna watch something, Brian?
I could try to stay awake. I could try to be open to it.
Yeah, I remember when I sort of forced you to watch Nefarious, and you were just like, "Oh no."
But afterwards, it was a good episode where we talked about it and broke it down.
Oh yeah, I thought this was great. I mean, of course, that's kind of my right in my wheelhouse to do breakdowns of things that I've watched, and I haven't really done a lot of that. But I think that that could be a feature on the channel. I think that would be fun to do, because I think that, I think people do want to know if these shows are biblical. I mean, it's probably not. I mean, I'm just, my first guess is it's probably not. I mean, the story of David and Goliath in the Bible is pretty short. So, I mean, if you're going to stretch it out over some mini series, it's like they're going to have to take a lot of license, and I'm okay with that a little bit. I'm okay if they like try to flesh out in between the lines a little bit, but once it starts to contradict things, that's obviously when I have major issues with stuff like that. Kind of like The Chosen. The Chosen wants to go tell all kinds of weird, different stories, and then their weird stories start to contradict the story that's there. And there's lots there. So, I mean, like the gospel is, there's a lot of room to kind of maybe fill in some gaps between the visits to certain towns and things like that. But other than that, it's like, why won't you just be true to the scriptures? Just like the Noah movie we always bring up. It's just straight trash. Like they could have made. I've been saying that. I think that if we could ever make like some kind of maybe even like animated type series about the days of Noah, I think that would be fire. Because there is so much room to be able to speculate about what it was like. Megaliths and giants and watchers and all that stuff. That could be really, really interesting.
That'd be pretty interesting. My favorite part in The Chosen, I mean, The Chosen, at least it's getting people to know the story of Jesus to some degree. So like good enough, I guess, I suppose. But my favorite terrible part in that movie is where Jesus is like practicing his Sermon on the Mount. Oh my gosh.
And he's making mistakes and everything.
Oh my gosh. It's the most disgustingly, it pissed me off so bad. When I saw that, I was like, this movie is dumb.
You know
what? Like, oh, this is stupid. I turned that thing off.
Actually, that was the end. When I first started watching The Chosen, I was basically right after I kind of was really kind of, trying to find my faith, for real. And I was reading the Bible again. And the first season of The Chosen, of course, like I said, I didn't know what I didn't know. So I was just watching and I thought, well, this really did move me in parts and it fleshed things out more. And I was really interested in it. But then season 2 started and it was just really, something was really off about it. And then, that's when I was like, I'm done with this. This is ridiculous. Like Jesus is the word.
Yeah.
I don't think that he had to practice the Sermon on the Mount. I mean, even think about like he told the apostles,
don't even worry about your saying.
Don't worry about what you'll say. The Holy Spirit's going to speak through you. So you don't think that the Holy Spirit was going to speak through him on the Sermon on the Mount?
Dude, that's exactly my point. It's like, like he literally told them, don't worry about what you say. Like, he's like, just go. And like, bro, like that is just absurd. An absurd perversion of the truth and of who Jesus is and the reality of God. And it's so snaky because you watch it and it's just that little snaky idea, that little seed that plants into your mind where you think like, well, Jesus was practicing his sermons. Bro, this is how we got these like weird, like LGBT, the alphabet community will say preaching, okay? Because they're going off not the Spirit of God. They're going off of their logic perspective. So we get the alphabet community out there thinking that, so I just worked out my little logic and preached my little message. Like, dude, you're freaking, that's dumb. That is dumb.
I think that's what's dangerous about that show is that it does have some good parts, but it's like the little bit of leaven ruins the whole lump. And I think to me, I haven't even looked further into it after that, but I know obviously there's the guy Dallas Clark, who's the producer of the show, and he's kind of the ecumenical, how do you say it? Ecumenical is like the whole universal church. And he's obviously, he's got his hand out. So obviously the people who pay him, is he going to say what he's going to tailor the show for the Latter-day Saints, the Catholic Church, all the things. And obviously that guy, Jonathan, who's plays Jesus. I'm not sure about this. So this is just my perspective. It's like, it looks like he might be in one of those secret clubs because he's got like the skull rings and the symbolism. Yeah. Like I don't trust the people in there, that show at all.
Not at all. Zero. And I mean, like there's after scene footage where they're filming of, and like they have LGBT stuff all over their cameras. And you're like, dude, bro, like what's that about? Like, I mean, like that's cool. Like whatever problems you got, but like, why would you be putting this on the camera? Like, why are you like stamping it? Why are you wearing these shirts? Like, dude, bro, it just, something doesn't sit right in my spirit. And it's totally off, completely off. Yeah. Same thing I was saying about that. What was that other guy that I was like, hey bro, the human trafficking dude. What was that guy?
Oh, who was it? Tim,
the Sound of Freedom. Tim something.
Yeah. Let me see.
No, Ballard. Tim Ballard. Lord.
Is it Tim? Yeah, Tim Ballard.
Yeah, his last name is Ball Lord. Okay.
Yeah.
Like that. Like I'm gonna say something right now. Okay. If you guys are suspicious about a person and their last name happens to be something like Ball Lord, I almost wonder if it's the Lord allowing prophecy to continue in their name, because like every time there's like a suspicious character, Anthony Weiner. Okay, every time there's a suspicious character, like their last name or their first name, like literally is like lines up with how their suspiciousness. Like you're just, it's like, is this God like his funny way of prophesying like reality in some perspective? Because it's like, dude, like it's hilarious. Just pay attention to it. So like if you're suspicious of somebody, check their name, check their last name, their first, just be like, that's a little bit weird.
Well, it was funny that we took a lot of heat at the beginning because we were not fully on board with that movie. Because everyone's like, oh, this is such an important issue, and they're exposing it, and Jim Caviezel and Mel Gibson and all the things. And then Tim Ballard, I guess, is kind of like some white knight in that movie, and he's like Mr. Perfect. Well, it turns out he was not Mr. Perfect. He was the opposite of that. He was a predator.
Yeah.
Or he is a predator, and I think he got called on it. And it's like, surprise, surprise. Yep. Nobody ever said to JT and to Brian, you guys were right. They never said that. You know what? And I guess we don't ever expect it to get the affirmation that we called it rightfully, that do not trust these kind of things. But that being said, let's get to some videos. I think it's interesting you brought up the Statue of Liberty, because I have a video that's not quite about the Statue of Liberty, but it's very, very close, surprisingly.
Okay.
Did you know that we have an actual guide stone in America in Plymouth?
No.
It's called the Monument to the Forefathers. I'd never heard of this. It's about 2 blocks in, and it's the largest granite structure in America, certainly, but maybe in the world. It was completed in 1890, and it is the guide stone of America.
How do I not know about this?
No one knows about this. Check it out. The thing is huge.
Whoa.
And it's literally in a cul-de-sac, a residential area.
Really?
There's no
How
roads.
old is that?
It was completed in 1890 after 50 years of building it.
Wow.
And so this is the formula for America. So they constructed this so that if we ever lost our way, we could find our way back. In the middle is Faith. That's her name, Faith. And it's 4 sides. And one is law, education, morality, and liberty. And has all these cool inscriptions. It's really something amazing to see. And I believe that's the formula that we need to get back.
Oh, boy.
Did you have any idea that was there? Of course, that guy, Tim Loader, was that? No, Kurt Loader. Kurt Loader was like, nobody knows about it. I didn't know about it.
I've seen it before. I've known about it. I did read one of the sides on that. I forget which one, and it was subtly. If I remember correctly, like seemed like okay, like it was vague. But I want to read all the sides. I've not read all the stuff on there. I want to read. We should probably bring it up and just like read through every one of those panels, honestly, just so we can see.
We can take a look at it. Anyways, of course, here's some pictures of it. You know what's funny about it? My first thought was, why is this a monument to the forefathers when there's no forefathers represented in the statue?
Well, is there? I think George Washington is one of them. No, on one of those sitting people on the bottom.
I mean, we can take a closer look, but I mean, you can tell those people who are up there are not. I mean, they don't appear to be dressed in Victorian garb.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It looks like a Roman dude. It looks like they look like Roman. Looks like a Roman soldier. It looks like some kind of a goddess. Like there's a goddess on the top of it, obviously.
Yeah. I thought one of them was George Washington.
Maybe that's George Washington. Look like a Roman, like he always is.
Because he is. Oh wait, is that a little person? Wait. Go back. Was that a little person right there? Oh, it is. It's a little person.
It's kind of like that one thing to Zeus, right? That one.
They're Nephilim, bro. They're giants. They got little people.
This thing is just too weird.
That's very sus.
Yeah, let's build this in 1890. Because why not? Because everything weird in America got built around the 1890s.
Dude, bro, did you know that all these statues were like not built like for like 1,000 years? They didn't build any of these statues. Isn't that fascinating?
I think it's I think that's ridiculous. They said this is in a residential area. Let me see.
And there's like no roads that go to it apparently.
Let me see what it says, and let's check Wiki about it. Yeah, as he said, it's located in Plymouth, Massachusetts. It's 81 feet tall. It was commissioned by the Pilgrim Society. Oh yeah, the Pilgrims were big fans of satanic deities, right? That's what they were about, right?
Yeah, that sounds accurate. I believe them.
The Puritans were all about this kind of stuff. The cornerstone was laid in August 2nd, 1859. And then what is it, under the direction of the Grand Master, John T. Hurd, of course.
Grand Master. Yeah, sounds like a
Freemason.
Mason.
Mm-hmm. The monument was completed in October 1888. It was dedicated with an appropriate ceremonies in August 1st, 1889. That's weird. Yeah, so it says, Hammett Billings, Boston architect, illustrator, and sculptor, originally conceived the monument as 150 foot tall. Wow. Structure comparable to the Colossus of Rhodes. You know who the Colossus of Rhodes was?
Helios.
That's right. Good call, Brian.
Dude, I have that literally. Look, I have that on my phone. I literally was just like looking at that for my video I was doing.
Yep, there's Helios. Yeah, again, so that's what the Statue of Liberty is. And obviously this seems very similar in the way of the style of the painting to Lucifer, summoning the demonic horde, right?
So wait, Statue of Liberty was 1886. When was that one constructed?
Well, it says that they laid the cornerstone in 1859, but then it wasn't finished until 1888. Don't tell me that took that long to build. I'm surprised it didn't take a year. But well, it says it says built in 1889.
So like,
well, this is weird.
1889.
You see what it says down there? Well, it says built in August 1st, 1889, but then this is contradictory because the monument was completed in October 1888, and a cornerstone was laid in 1859.
Weird.
So, and of course, look, there's no history about it, and there's just like, it seems like there's a lot of gaps in that story, right? Am I wrong about that?
I wonder if this was going to be like our American Statue of Liberty until the actual Helios Statue of Liberty had taken over, you know?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I mean, the whole thing is, it's highly suspect. And so I actually found a few more videos that are about like kind of these weird monuments. A few episodes ago, we had some boots on the ground. My friend Jack sent me a video about an obelisk in Kentucky. It was supposedly dedicated to Jefferson Davis, which again, that's really strange, but
very suspicious.
Very strange after his side lost the Civil War, but they said, hey, let's memorialize this guy with this giant phallic symbol. Okay, let's check this out. So this is another really interesting one right here.
1777, the one is an eye, and it's separated on this side. Same thing, the one's an eye. That would have been 10 right there with 77 next to it. They kind of converted it to an 8. This is the Saratoga Battle Monument. It's a giant obelisk in Saratoga. You can see they got the Masonic pillar columns on each side. That's the original marble. You'll see these in the Mason holes too. That's how big this thing is. One number, one date adjusted throws off the timeline for the whole entire area and the whole entire battle. You can see that a lot of these burial mounds, they had the windows filled in and they get locked because the back of them going to run down into these hills. That's why they're set up like this. They're literally tombs. So it says the land was once part of a fortified camp for 6,000 soldiers, and it was covered with raw mud, right? This whole place got flooded out. It tells you right on the sign. All right, so this is the Bennington Monument right here. This is 306 feet tall, 3.6, all right? It's sitting on a giant circle, 360 degrees. So this is laid out perfectly north, south, east, and west. All right, so you see how these slits are a lot smaller than on the other towers on the castles, and how these middle slits are perfectly aligned and the bottom ones are parallel. That's because the light would go through that like a sundial. Right, this is your west side, the other side's east. And that's how they tell time. They'd use this as a giant sundial clock and a compass. It's 306 feet tall. It's in a 360-degree circle, all facing your cardinal points. All right, this is going to be a lot lower than that mound in Saratoga. There's going to be a basin here buried somewhere. That's why it dips off right here on the side and all around this, because there's going to be a base that sat on.
Start over for the beginning. I want to see the beginning part again. That like the date thing. What was he saying there?
He's saying it looks like they added a 1.
So it says 1777.
The 1 is up, and it's separated on this side. Same thing. The 1's an I. That would have been 10 right there with 77 next to it. They kind of converted it to an 8.
1077. So what would that mean? Wait a second. Pause it on there.
Well, what he's saying is that
I'm missing what he's saying.
What he's saying is that, like a lot of people have said that some of the dates looks like sometimes they'll have an I or a J, and it looks like they just added a 1. I think he seems correct about the 8 looks really sus, because the 8 looks like it's way high. It's like it's so uneven with it. It looks like they added a little circle on the top of it. It looks more like if it was a 0, it looks like it would have been aligned with the other numbers, but because they added the circle on the top, it looks off. Now,
so
again, I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of those people subscribe to that they just added 1s to everything. But it is weird. I mean, I think that it's more likely that they could have done stuff like that. I mean, I do believe that there's funny business where they've altered existing engravings. Those almost look like they were new engravings, though. Because I think that, like a lot of times when you see the Freemasons laid some cornerstone and it looks brand new, it doesn't look like the rest of the structure. So they added their stamp on it. That being said, what in the world? They made 2 big monuments to the Revolutionary War in Saratoga, New York, very close to each other. And they're both giant obelisks. Yeah, look, here's some of the details on the Saratoga Battle Monument. Yeah, it's 100. It's 100.
How far away are they from each other?
Let me see. It says something. I think it says, it might even say on here because it mentions the Bennington Monument. That's not far from there. I'm pretty sure I looked this up after I saw that guy's video.
Bro, we just need to do a whole video on like weird structures and like reliefs and statues in America.
Well, this could certainly go into the United Snakes of America, because what is this weird stuff? They're 22 miles apart.
Wow, that's pretty dang close.
It is, isn't it?
That's pretty darn close for sure. They're just 20 miles apart. Interesting. 2 giant, massive obelisks. Oh man, judging from that angle, I feel like you can almost see the other one probably from the distance.
Dude, this thing is huge.
Dude, yeah, that is massive. I think
they say this one is 306 feet tall. That's pretty close to the same size as that one that was in Kentucky we were talking about, the Jefferson Davis one.
Dude, this is all fake. So much fake stuff.
It does seem fake, doesn't it?
There's so fake stuff. They're lying to us so hard.
I agree. See, this thing. That thing looks like all castle-like. It's like it's more than just an obelisk, right?
What is that about?
That's the women of the revolution. Get out of here with that nonsense. This is goofy, man.
Was that a little hairy child or was that a dog? What is that?
It almost does look like some kind of a terrier. It's on his hind legs.
Oh, there is a little dog underneath the desk.
Okay,
underneath the one with the wheel, but the person to the right looks like a little hairy child, I think.
Yeah, there's Toto. It looks like Albert Pike over there. But yeah, man, like, are you serious with this stuff?
The Freemasons now, they know what that is. That's why they're Freemasons.
One thing I'll say too is that what you noticed there, kind of what you said specifically about the Bennington one. I think it's really interesting. I noticed this at some of the things I've seen, that it appears to be on a hill. Both of them are on a hill. So I've wondered, when you do see that, like he said, the Bennington Monument specifically, it looks like it probably has some kind of base to it. I wonder if there's a star fort under there or something like that. There's something under there.
I wouldn't put it past them to be building on top of star forts, because I think my theory is the star fort is like probably something from the 1,000-Year Reign, where potentially it was like maybe like a seal, maybe like some kind of door to the abyss, and it was like locked and sealed. And so of course they would build stuff like their satanic things on top of it.
I don't know if it's just that. Well, I don't think that they built that thing in 1890. So I think that thing's much older. So I think they dug it out. I think they dug out part of it, and then there's still a hill there.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird. It's like you're just going to build this. Like, I mean, obviously that thing weighs a lot. So they obviously just didn't build it on the dirt. So it probably goes down pretty far. That's really similar. Again, I mentioned that I had that same kind of conclusion when I visited the Wright Brothers Memorial, and that's on a big hill. And they don't really show, you can kind of see the star fort base of that, but it still looks like it goes down deeper. Pretty weird stuff. Doesn't really seem like it belongs in the United States. Kind of like Statue of Liberty, kind of like the monument to the forefathers. There's giant obelisks all over the place in America.
That's true.
But I mean, again, but the point being is that, so I've heard of the Battle of Saratoga. I don't really remember what was significant about it. I mean, I guess it was a big victory for the U.S. of A., but they also had a similar monument not that far from there. And what's interesting about where I live, I'm close to Jamestown and Yorktown. So history says that it was Cornwallis surrendered to George Washington at the Battle of Yorktown. How come we don't have a big obelisk there? Because that seems like a big
Cornwallis. You need a Cornwallis.
Well, doesn't it seem like it would be a bigger deal that's where they won the whole war?
I mean, yeah, for sure.
Maybe I'll look real quick. Let's see if there's a Battle of Yorktown. Maybe there is. Maybe I just haven't been there in a while. Okay, we got something here.
Oh,
look at that!
Oh man,
I gotta go visit that.
Of that. Is that Lucifer sitting right there on top? I think it is. What is this obelisk thing that we build like wherever there's a battle? What is this weird ritual that humans did for every human sacrifice battle? Bro, you know what it is?
I've got a road trip to go to, I guess.
Bro, it's totally got to be like some kind of like ritual thing for sure.
Like a human sacrifice type thing.
Yeah.
Look here. First of all, here's a closer view of it.
Wow. That is Satan up there, isn't it? That's like a woman version of Satan.
I mean, is it the woman version, or is it just like because if you look at, you can't see too closely, but those don't look like breasts. Those look like pectorals. Muscles.
Yeah, I suppose.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, what's the funny hat he's got on? She's got on.
I don't know. Like I said, if there's a closer picture, I haven't.
Is that reef a part of the design, or do they hang that every time?
I think they hung that. That's the modern contribution to this ancient statue.
What's the imagery?
Look at all the stars on it and stuff like that.
Bro, that's the stars of all the Nephilim angels. Bro, that's straight Lucifer. Come on.
Okay, let's see what it says on here. It says that the Yorktown Victory Monument is a monument erected in Colonial National Historical Park in Yorktown, Virginia, commemorating the 1781 victory at Yorktown and the alliance with France, of course, France again, that brought about the end of the American Revolution and resulting in peace with England after the American Revolutionary War.
Those French Freemasons, bro.
Designed by Richard Morris Hunt, the monument was installed in 1884. Installed. That's weird language. It's installed.
Well, they're Freemasons for making
it. Says
probably.
At the top stands a figure of Liberty sculpted by John Quincy Adams Ward. The element was destroyed by lightning in 1942, and it was replaced in 1957 by, the Figure of Victory by Oscar J. W. Hansen. Oscar Hansen was the guy who sculpted the damn angels at the Hoover Dam.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Okay, there's a closer view.
Yeah, that's definitely. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yep. That's Luciferian for sure. What's with the doing the 2-finger thing?
I guess these look more like boobs from this angle.
Yeah.
Or it could just be pectorals.
Just very large pectoral muscles. You got the eagle of Zeus at the base there. I mean, we know Zeus is Zeus or Satan's androgynous, so guy girl.
What is this nonsense?
So
Yeah, this is some kind of construction. Right. I guess again they didn't have cameras back then. Oh yeah, actually they did. Nobody with a new camera thought it was noteworthy to take a picture of this thing being built. Look at that nonsense. So is that a different statue? Yeah, it does look different, right?
Let's say it was struck by lightning and they replaced it, right?
Yeah, Oscar J. Hansen. That's really interesting.
Yeah, the hands look a little bit different.
Yeah, it looks like it's more like raised arms in this other one.
Yeah.
It's kind of like bow to me. It's kind of like the sense you get from that, right?
Yeah. Struck by lightning. I love it. God's just like...
Yep.
Okay, and there's our bundle of sticks,
Yeah. Erected in pursuance of a resolution of Congress and adopted October 29th, 1781, and an act of Congress approved June 7th, 1880 to commemorate the victory by which the independence of the United States of America was achieved. Bro, like they're just putting up these monuments everywhere. I almost guarantee that text was added much later. You can just tell. Like, just look at the way it's blocked.
It just looks like it wasn't planned to go onto those blocks.
There's no way. Yeah, again, it looks ridiculous the way it's laid out, right?
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't even fit properly onto the blocks at all.
I know you have an eye for that kind of stuff. You would never put text looking like that.
No. I'm a designer. That's horrendous. That's horrendous graphic design skills there. And the rest of it's so beautifully and precisely made, and the text just looks like bleh.
Yeah, look at that text where it says that and George III, King of the Great Britain and Ireland, declare gets his own line.
Yeah. That's pretty hilarious.
This is nonsense, bro. Yeah, again, declares with its own line. Yeah, look at the detail in that thing.
Yeah, look at that, and then the text afterwards just looks all crapoly put in there.
Yeah, can you imagine all the detail it takes to make the robes and gowns that they're wearing have all the wrinkles and stuff in them?
Yeah, those Freemasons.
They're showing no, those Freemasons didn't build anything. They built a bunch of lies. Look, it's got the Star of David over there.
Oh, it is the Star of David. It's not even the star. That's the occult symbol. That's the star of Remphan.
Yeah, Remphan, not David. I shouldn't even call it that.
Bro, they got the occult stars above their heads. Interesting.
United Snakes of America, Brian.
United Snakes of America.
I'm definitely taking a road trip. I think that's probably about an hour away from me.
Wow.
Okay.
That's for sure unsettling.
Okay, we are going to move on. Space has been a popular topic on this channel recently, so let's continue that popular theme.
But part of the reason why people don't think that the moon landing is fake is because there's this story about them bringing back 842 pounds worth of moon rocks, and now these moon rocks are on display in museums. And I know that there was the one rock that was supposedly misidentified or mislabeled in a museum, and it was given to some foreign dignitary, and they tested it.
It wasn't mislabeled. But Neil Armstrong said out of his own mouth he saw a rock on the surface of the moon. He picked it up specifically for the Prime Minister of the Netherlands, put it in his pocket, chain of custody, brought it, gave it to him. They sealed it in a box and immediately put it in a museum a clear box, and there you go. The curator of the museum apparently saw my movie, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon, and goes, never thought about that. And in the middle of the night, opened the hermetically sealed container they presumed would stay sealed for all time, put it under a microscope, and it's a piece of petrified wood. It looks out of this world, but unless trees are growing on the moon, it's a fake moon rock. So no one asked the question, if the moon rocks are fake, what about the moon mission?
Yeah, I want to rewind it. I want to see one thing he said at the beginning.
But part of the reason why people don't think that the moon landing is fake is because there's this story about them bringing back 842 pounds worth of moon rocks, and now these moon rocks are on display.
They brought back 842 pounds of moon rocks
on that stupid little plastic shoot-off spaceship that shot sparkles. The Sparkle spaceship.
I mean, just think about them. You see them goofing off, bouncing around all over the place. But when were they mining moon rocks? I mean, that seems like that would have been a lot of work. I guess gravity's less there, but also they don't have the stability that they would have on the Earth to be able to carry around 842 pounds.
That would definitely throw off their trajectory with their rockets, alignments, I'm sure, and all kinds of things, right?
You would think that, yes, that they would, based on the engineering and science involved in all the things to get back. Could you imagine that if you were there, you're like, what if the weight makes it harder for us to get back? Don't worry about it. Let's take about 800 pounds worth.
Take 800 pounds of rocks worth. Oh my gosh.
No, it's so ridiculous that, because if you think about it, 800 pounds of rock. 800 pounds of rocks. I mean, I used to carry bags of cement, when I was doing construction in the field. They weigh 100 pounds. Okay, so that's 8 bags. 8 bags is 800 pounds. Well, I mean, how big are the rocks they're picking up to put on the ship? Are they picking up, if it was a bunch of little rocks, that would take forever.
Bro, that would take forever. It's comical that the guy's comment is some of the reason why people don't think that we, that
they believe it. They believe it is the evidence.
The reason why we
believe
pounds. That we went to the moon is because of the rocks. And it's no, fool. That's that's another point of why we don't believe, actually, bro. That is so ridiculous.
Yeah, that piece of crap that they flew back in, supposedly.
The Sparkle ship.
They put 800 pounds worth of rocks in it. Or maybe they'll say that this is over the course of all the times they landed on the moon. It was 800 pounds. Still, that's still a lot of weight in rocks. I mean, that's like putting another, at least, based on these guys' weights, they probably weighed around 160 to 180 pounds each. And then they put, every mission would be like flying back with an extra person.
How many missions did they only did
supposedly
4 missions?
They landed on the moon 5 times.
5 times. That's
5 times.
I
think it was 5 times between 1969 and 1972.
Landed on the moon 5 times. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. It's so funny.
After the first time, we forgot to pick up all the rocks. Oh, it's so ridiculous. And yeah, of course, the main point of that story was that Neil Armstrong claimed to have picked up a moon rock. He gave it to some foreign dignitary, and it turned out after they examined it, it was not actually a moon rock. It was petrified wood.
Yeah.
So again, people have often said, many people who are skeptical of us skeptics, they'll say, well, if it was fake, how come these other countries don't expose that it was fake? Well, I would say that that's a pretty good example of somebody exposing that it's fake without actually coming right out and say they're liars. I mean, if a guy said he picked up a rock from the moon and it turned out to be a piece of wood, what else is that guy besides a liar?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the other countries did expose that it was fake. For instance, India landed on the moon.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't know if you can't watch the footage and think that India didn't expose that the moon landing was fake.
Once again, do you guys believe this story's true? So India landed an unmanned craft on the moon the other day, and this is the video. Okay, before you say, you idiot, that wasn't supposed to be real video. Well, from the articles I read, it did not say it was artist rendering. It does not say it's some kind of representation of what it looks like. It doesn't mention any of that. So, as far as I know, this is supposedly the real video. Well, obviously it looks real fake because it is. So that leads me to the question of, why did they stop at the moon? Why didn't they just go all the way to Mars? Or Venus? Or maybe Uranus? Actually, you know what? It might be fun to do that right now. Let's show it landing on Mars, Venus, Uranus. How about the sun? How about the Death Star? Yeah. It's kind of easy to get to these places when you use Photoshop.
I don't know what to tell you because it's laughable. Or for instance, the rice cooker that Russia sent to the moon as well. I mean, that for my perspective, rewatching that looks like Russia definitely exposed that it was fake as well. I mean, maybe it wasn't intentional, but dang, was that some really good video evidence? Sure.
I mean, I don't even care what the other countries say. I mean, yeah, again, like the only evidence we have seen that they've went looks really fake, and then we've exposed countless lies that they've told trying to say that they went. So again, I don't trust liars. So that's a pretty big, I mean, to me, that's a pretty big lie that you gave somebody a rock and it's not legitimate. It's not even a rock. It's not even a rock.
It's a piece of petrified wood. So did a Buzz Aldrin, did he claimed that he picked it up off the moon?
No, it was Neil Armstrong.
Neil Armstrong claimed that he picked it up off the moon and then gave it to the prime minister. Like,
yeah.
Bro, that means either Neil Armstrong is delusional or he's a liar or both. How else trust anything else that he's saying at that point?
You can't. I mean, you can't and you shouldn't. I mean, I don't know what else to say besides, yeah, that's incredibly sus, to say the least. All right, shifting gears dramatically. Now, this is a story that is a little bit more like e-news, if you will. This is going to be something that's not typically something we cover. But I thought this story was funny, and I got 2 videos. So try to withhold your comments, right? This is about Alec Baldwin's wife. And I don't know if you guys have heard this story about Hillary Baldwin. But this is really, this cracked me up, and I think I'm going to have some questions for Brian afterwards.
Alec Baldwin has a wife.
Yes.
Hilaria. If you don't know about her, she has a full-blown Spanish accent. Like, she speaks like this when she speaks English, and it's so sexy and, like, whatever. She was born in Boston. Okay? Boston. Her actual name is Hillary Hayward Thomas.
I thought her dad was from Spain.
No, so this is why I'm so excited about what I found out.
God.
The father, David L. Thomas Jr. David Tomas. Okay. In 2015, he actually posted on a blog admitting to his decade-long infatuation with all things Spanish. Because in 1970, he was on a train with a Spanish priest. Okay.
I'm sorry.
And the Spanish priest apparently opened him up to like the Spanish culture and everything. And ever since then, he dug deep. He learned Spanish. He even taught Spanish, even to Hilaria.
Wait. This is the crazy. He met a priest on a train who was Spanish, thought it was cute little culture
like
language,
the whole
and just
cultural.
went with
From
it.
the 70s, and then in 2015, he posted that blog talking about his infatuation with everything Spanish, quote unquote. My path in life has been heavily infatuated by Spanish language and culture, and not because I have an iota of Latin blood in my veins.
I remember there was a Today Show episode where she was cooking and she said to the anchor, how you say cucumber?
How do you say anything? Cucumber? Cucumbers.
So, and that was right sort of before, right, and it all blew up. That she's not Spanish, but she was really passing herself off as English as a second language and Spanish, and changed her name from Hillary to Hilaria. And can I just name off by the way, since we're talking about that, I was going to wait till the end of the segment, but since we're talking about this, let me name off the names of their 7 children. Just so everybody knows Hilaria's effect on Alec and the effect of her Spanishness. Carmen Gabriela, Rafael Thomas, Leonardo Angel Charles, Romeo Alejandro David, Eduardo Edu Pau Lucas, Maria Lucia Victoria, Ilaria Catalina Irena. I don't get.
Have you heard that story, Brian?
Dude, you had to show the video of him being cut off by Hilaria.
I'll have to find that and stick it in there. I'll stick that in here. That's what I really knew about her, was that she was really horrible to him, and he's obviously horrible, so it was funny.
We're gonna see how it feels to have it be out there.
It's gonna be great. You're a winner.
Oh my God! When I'm talking, you're not talking. No, when I'm talking, you're not talking. This is why. Yes, we'll have to just cut him out of the show. No, I mean, I think this is a really raw show, and it's very real, and we took a lot of chances.
That he just said, just stop talking and just cut him off.
Dude, oh my gosh. You know what? It makes you feel kind of bad for the guy until you see the other video footage of him talking to that dude on the New York street corner who's doing the Alec Baldwin impression. Have you seen that one too?
Oh, the guy who's doing the Trump
The Trump impression. Yeah, the Trump impression.
That one was pretty incredible. And of course, I'll have to put that in here too. So check this out here.
Alec, it's your favorite president. Look, Alec, I will offer you a total pardon, because I want to be friends, right? I want to be friends. I will give you a total pardon for murdering that woman if you kiss the ring. Kiss the ring, Alec. Kiss the big, beautiful ring. Come on, Alec. Come on, look at Alec Baldwin, right? He did that impersonation of me. It was not too hot, not too good. But look, we're back in office. You lost. Kamala lost. She's somewhere getting intoxicated. Look at that suitcase. Unbelievable. Well, Alec, if you don't want that pardon for murdering that woman in cold blood, you can call it first degree, you can call it whatever you want, but it was not good. She's looking down on me right now, smiling, happy. Thank you for confronting the man who took me out, who killed me, and that's okay.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
No, you realize, by the
Whoa.
way. No, look at me. I want you to look at me.
Sure.
You got a camera on me here?
The ring, no, it's the ring.
But you realize my kids live in this building, right? But I want you to know something.
We love the children. We're doing great deals for the children.
Be real careful.
Okay.
If this camera wasn't here, I'd snap your neck in half and break it right over. So you know that, don't you?
Okay. All right, Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin, ladies and gentlemen, class act. Believe me. Believe me. Okay. Oh, he's yelling at me. Look, your favorite president's leaving. Your favorite I'm a citizen of this. I was born and raised in New York City. I love you, Alec. Alec, look, Alec, you don't want to attack your favorite president, Alec. Look, I love you. I love you, Alec. He's got more balls than De Niro, that I can tell you. De Niro ran away. Alec confronted. That's good. He's strong, but also he's weak because he murdered a woman. So that's okay, right? Look at this guy.
So what I thought, Brian, because I was like, this is too insane. And I thought, Brian, has this woman been hypnotized? Because that's a little bit much. It's one thing to, I don't know. Honestly, it makes no sense that, okay, so you like Spanish culture, but you're not going to pretend to be Spanish. You're not going to pretend to be Mexican or something like that, or from Spain, because naming all your kids after that and trying to act like you don't know how to say cucumber in English when you're from Boston. I mean, I think that goes beyond just that. Who was the one? Rachel Dolezal. Remember the one who was pretended to be black and she worked for the NAACP and she identified as black. So this woman identifies as Spanish, even though she's from Boston, and she would probably talk like Goodwill Hunting. You like them apples. That is really weird. It does seem like this woman has been put through some kind of MK Ultra ringer. She believes she's Spanish. Do you think she believes it, or she's literally just faking it like this?
Bro, I think there's people that live in that dissociative state of mind, and she is one of those people who is obviously a part of some type of brainwashing propaganda stuff. Her dad has probably made her a prime candidate for, brainwashing techniques. And so she's just self-hypnotized. She's self-hypnotized is what she is. So she's literally convinced herself that she is indeed Spanish. And, when you live that lie for so long, it starts to sort of, come in unity with this. Or she could be possessed by some type of Spanish deity demon. Like, honestly, I know that sounds insane, but that's totally a possibility too, though, because there's a funny condition where people get hit on the head or they have like seizures, and all of a sudden they start speaking accents from different regions, and it's literally a demon possessing them from a different region, and it shifts their accent. I mean, that's a possibility, but more than likely, I think she's self-hypnotized herself. She's convinced herself that she is Spanish and probably just lived it out so long, so much role playing that she's evoked some type of spirit of control over her own life. Like that's literally what happens. This is why, it's the same process of evoking demons is really what she's done, to be completely honest.
Yeah, it's so it's comical though, but I think it's weird though that the dad took a train and he met a Spanish priest, and the Spanish priest got him to fall in love with Spanish culture. That
probably
sounds
a Spanish demon.
Made up. That sounds made up. That sounds like that there was something. What kind of priest was he? Was he a Catholic priest or was he a witch doctor? Because like, what kind of spell did he put him under? Where, it's like what he was not aware about Spanish culture before that. So weird. And then so then his daughter is gone full blown crazy where she identifies as Spanish. I mean, the naming your kids, and of course the woman pronouncing all the names, rolling all the R's. It's like, I bet that's how she pronounces her kids' names. And you got Alec Baldwin. I'm not sure where he's from. He seems like a New Yorker. And then you got this woman from Boston. Talk about cultural appropriation. Doesn't the left normally not think too much of that? I mean, that's
they crucify the people that do that.
Yeah, some super rich, privileged white lady pretending to be Spanish. It kind of reminds me of Pocahontas. What's her name? Elizabeth. What's her name?
Yeah, Warren.
Elizabeth Warren. Yeah, where she claimed to have high cheekbones like her Indian American ancestors, and that's why she got like some kind of scholarship to go to Harvard.
Oh, so funny.
These people are such hypocrites. Or literally, this woman has been conditioned to has lost part of her mind.
Yeah, I would say she's definitely lost part of her mind, or a portion of her mind's cut off. She's obviously in a disassociative state. The fact that she can behave this way and act like this, acting sort of conditions people to get accustomed to demon possession. So like she is acting, and she is acting to the point where whether she's possessed or not is to be determined. I mean, like I would have to talk with her to really kind of figure that one out. But like, she could be, she's dispositioned mentally to a state of what we call channeling. Okay. So she's channeling something, right? So she's channeling this identity is like laughable and comical when you know that it's like all fake, but like it is opening her up to the same type of psychological processes that, MK Ultra stuff was doing to people. It's the same kind of thing. It's literally, she's just skipping the part where there was trauma. Maybe there was trauma in her life, and maybe that's why she does this disassociative state thing where she just pretends to live in a reality that's untethered to her current reality, because her dad probably did terrible things to her. Really, like that's probably why she's even connected to people like Alec Baldwin, because they're all a part of this club where they all have been abused, and then terrible things have been done to them, and they do terrible things to other people. So I mean, it's she just fits right in with all of it.
I want to go back to something you said, that these people have some kind of issue, and then they start speaking in a weird accent. I'm pretty sure I saw some lady who did that. I want to say it was like a British accent or something like that. Do you remember? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. There's one woman, America, who starts speaking in an Asian accent. So like she gets hit on the head or I think she takes seizure medication, and then the next she like passes out and wakes up and she talk like this all the time, and she cannot stop talking like this, and it's like it's so comical to watch because it's like you're like, this woman legitimately has an Asian accent, and you're like, well, where'd that come from?
My name is Sarah Colwell. I am 40 years old. I live in Plymouth, born and bred here in Plymouth. About 5 years ago now, I had a stroke-like event. There's still some question as to whether it was a severe migraine or an actual stroke event, but whatever it was have changed my brain activity. So the motor skills and communication part of brain do not function very well anymore.
Like, is she legitimately? She's a white woman, and it's so comical.
It's always the white women with
the crazy white women.
The white women. Well, I mean, yeah, there's something deeper going on, because it is easy to clown on that. And I mean, if there's not anything, I mean, of course it is worth clowning on, but I mean, yeah, I think that there could be something much deeper, because I think that's, again, it's bizarre. But again, it could just be you have some privileged white lady who wants to pretend like she's in a minority group when she's like on the upper echelon of like the top 1%, like the 0.1% of the 1% as far as privilege, right? And she's trying to act like that she.
I mean, how else would she get involved with Alec Baldwin if she's not already like in this high prestigious spot? So she's obviously somebody that's gone through potentially a lot of abuse, and mental disassociation is something that happens to these people. So, you know.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's check out another video. Actually, I almost kind of previewed it. This was an interesting video from our bro, Postmodern.
Bible Expedition drops some interesting information, and you're going to freak out when you find out who this is. Turns out Josephus wrote of a Greek historian by the name of Manetho, and this Manetho named the actual pharaoh that exiled the Hebrews, and his name was Amenephis. Amenephis happens to be the Greek variant for Amenhotep. Now, if we go to 1 Kings 6 and look at the biblical chronology and find out the exile goes back 480 years to a time of 1446 BC, turns out Amenhotep II actually reigned during this period, so that gives that box a tick. But if this is the Pharaoh king, we actually know that his father Pharaoh reigned for a long time, because Moses was exiled to Midian, and from Acts speech of Stephen, he went out there for at least 40 years. Well, it turns out Thutmose III reigned for 54 years. That ticks that box. And if we actually find out who the successor was, well, it was actually Thutmose IV, who wasn't his firstborn. Firstborn was this one, Webensenu, and he died of a mysterious illness. And we know the firstborn of Pharaoh died in the 10th plague. And we know this is actually one of the royal heirs because of the haircut that is there, which only given to the royal heirs of Pharaoh. And Webensenu was found in Amenhotep II's tomb, so obviously he didn't succeed him have his own tomb. So if we actually go to the sarcophagus and the mummy, and this is debated a little bit, there actually was boils and scars on Amenhotep II's mummy. And so they might think this is post-mortem scars. But either way, this may be the Pharaoh king of Exodus. It's wild.
That's pretty interesting. I think he kind of got a little confused on there, though, because I think he was saying like that was actually the mummy of the son who died in the plague. And so he had the boils still, right?
Yeah, I think that's what he was alluding to. Yeah.
That's really
Bible Expedition is epic, by the way, guys. If you guys haven't followed Bible Expedition on YouTube, absolutely follow that guy.
I haven't.
Oh my gosh, Bible Expedition, dude! Like one of the most epic channels. He literally goes to certain places and he like shows you in the Bible where the place is supposed to be and looks for evidence of it being there. He's like, okay, now everybody says this is the tomb of David. However, he's like, let me show you this other place. And he shows you the rock hard, solid evidence and compares it to like the reality of what's really going on. Bro, his page is phenomenal. Anyways, I can't him talking about Imhotep. I haven't watched his video. I watched Matt's video, but I haven't watched Bible Expedition's video on it. Now I have to though, because that's pretty freaking awesome that like literally they potentially found the son of Amenhotep, who's potentially died in the mysterious plague that killed the firstborn son. That's crazy. That is a straight evidence. Crazy.
You know, it's interesting that you say that about like the Bible Expedition. Well, Derek Olson let me in on a deal that he's got going on to Israel and Petra next year. So basically this time next year, it's March 15th through the 23rd, 2026. And they're going to go through like all the kind of biblical sites in Israel, but they're also going to go up to Mount Hermon. So he's going to do some more stuff like Caesarea Philippi, and he's actually going to tour Petra. So if enough people get joined up, I'm actually probably going to try to go to that. I think that would be epic. Of course, Brian, obviously I would be epic if you could go as well. So yeah, if you guys want details, I'm going to put a link in the description to check that out, because I think I want to go. I want to go. I mean, I'm really interested to go see Mount Hermon and Petra. I think Petra would just be ridiculously awesome to go see that. Edom,
dude,
right? That's the Edomites were there. And who knows, that Petra might have been even older. That probably came from maybe the Edomites settled there. But yeah, going to check out, like we just showed on the last Ancient Angels podcast, we were showing some of Caesarea Philippi where like the gates of hell were, and it looked all melted and just gnarly. So yeah, there's got to be lots of really cool stuff to check out. So yeah, Derek Olson, Stargate Voyager. We've done some podcasts with him. Yeah, link in the description.
Awesome.
You know, we're going to continue on that theme. I thought this is a great video that, of course, from my favorite TikToker who is no longer making TikToks. This video right here is epic. Check this out, Brian.
What you know about weapons of mass destruction. I've told you once, and I'm gonna tell you again. Many years ago, they literally had weapons that could turn your land into dust. So the mainstream narrative says this is nothing more than a natural rock formation caused by wind erosion. But if you listen to the body slayer, he will tell you this is evidence that somebody got smoked. So in Pakistan, there is an area of caves, tunnels, and badly damaged temples. So badly damaged that you can barely make out what it is. But on closer inspection, you will find that there is a giant sphinx similar to the one found in Egypt. Oh my days. One way you can tell when an area has been through a catastrophic event is when nothing grows again. You have to understand, rocks, stones are not Earth's natural surface level. You only find rocks or stones when somebody's been digging, mining, something's been petrified, or somebody got smoked. I mean, look at that. Do you really think that that's a natural rock formation? Come on, brother. You have to start thinking for yourself. Not just listening what they told you. Just think for yourself. So yeah, many years ago, they had weapons that could literally bring down fire, brimstone, and lightning.
I agree. Somebody got smoked. Definitely in that place. What do you think, Brian? Do you think that was it? Used to be a sphinx?
That definitely looks pretty suspicious. I'd want to know if there's any like doors or holes or cavities in that rock, like, or things underneath it for sure. But like that, I mean, I don't agree with the we having the technology, but I do think God had the technology, and I do think that the Lord, on the Lord's day, a lot of mountains were turned to wax, and that very well could have been one of those wax turned mountains when Jesus Christ came back shining like the sun, and that whole place could have just like melted.
I agree with you. I think that I don't believe that was some kind of advanced weaponry back in those days. I think that was Day of the Lord type stuff. But it was definitely those. I believe, I would say with 99% certainty that used to be a sphinx. And then that other stuff, because it kind of looked like kind of columns going down the side. Yeah, and that certainly looked like a statue as well. I think that's there's just no way that was natural. I mean, of course, I'm skeptical of all the rocks. As when you become a next level conspiracy theorist, we all start to question the rocks and everything. That one is super super sus. And yeah, so that is in Turkey. Once again, that place is in Turkey. I'm trying to find another picture of it. Isn't that strange that all that stuff that is melted, Cappadocia and all that stuff, that is in Turkey, just like the 7 churches were in Revelation, in the book of Revelation. That's come on, guys. The coincidence there that area is being mentioned specifically in the book of Revelation, and that's got some of probably the best evidence of melted things. So I don't believe that that was nations going against nations. I think that was the Lord burning it down during the trumpets and the bowls of wrath.
Concur.
I got another space video, Brian. This one you're gonna like because this is your boy Elon.
I've seen the images of it with the.
It looks fake.
It looks.
That's how you know it's real.
Is that how you know it's real?
Yeah.
But how do the images get to us?
Yeah, exactly. So
how is that getting to us?
The radio.
Wow. And where's the camera that's taking this photo?
There's a camera on a stick.
Really?
Yeah.
And it didn't break off?
No. I mean, we thought it might, but.
Is that real?
That's real.
Wow. It says "Don't panic" on the screen.
Yeah. Don't panic,
bro.
Oh man. I feel like they're trolling everybody. I feel like Joe Rogan was like, maybe he wasn't in on it right away or something, because he was just like, Joe Rogan's like, are you sure? Like, I wonder if Joe Rogan is like in on the awareness of this scheme, or if it's just like, bro, I mean, like, that's just so funny. It's so comical.
I think Joe Rogan is showing he became a shill. I mean, maybe he's always a bit of a shill, but some of the early Joe Rogan podcasts, he always was saying that the moon landing was fake. And then eventually he started getting guests on like Neil deGrasse Tyson on. And then he's starting to say like he repented of being a moon landing hoaxer. And now he's not sure. I think maybe his current opinion about it, he's thinking like he's not sure. But he had hours of stuff where he'd clown on the moon landing. And so this might show you that he's just shilling, because you can tell he thinks that's fake. I mean, he's got that grin. He's obviously kind of poking Elon in the ribs a little bit. It looks ridiculously fake. And of course, that's the famous quote from Elon. It looks fake, so that's how you know it's real. That is not how you know something's real. It looks fake because it is fake. And like the idea that this thing had some kind of selfie stick. I've made that joke before, that you get these satellites out in outer space and it's like, so who took the pictures of them out there? Selfie stick. Like, remember what was the other one? The Parker space probe, the one that flies up to the sun, that goes 400,000 miles an hour. And it's like, so how did they ever get any kind of pictures of this thing? Selfie stick, radio waves. And the radio waves can transmit perfect, crisp images back.
I love the stun response when he said, how is it getting the image? And he goes, radio waves. Like, it was like, yeah, radio waves. Like, it was like such a paused, like, weird, like, oh my gosh, it's so funny. It's comical.
You know, how can you get, I mean, again, I don't know, might be a dumb question. What kind of signal can you broadcast that would be that crystal clear back like that? Where you'd get like real, like legit, fully 4K looking quality back from that floating car in outer space.
Is that live feed still going? Because supposedly, isn't it supposed to just keep going? Or did the live feed die?
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. The thing is, it's very obviously that it's not very obvious, but what I would say that it looks like, there's a real image of Earth that's been put through a fisheye lens. So it looks like it's in outer space. Now, where is that car? Or did they just kind of Photoshop the car into an actual video of Earth through a fisheye lens? I mean, that's what I think. I mean, that's what it kind of looks like, is that the car is inserted into whatever that is. Because, yeah, it certainly looks fake AF. it's the fakest looking thing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, did anybody?
That's the second time he said that it looks fake. So that's how you know it's real. He says that in another interview, and he says it on the Joe Rogan.
Yeah, again, the things don't work like that in my world. If it looks fake, it's probably fake. All right, we're gonna do one. We'll do one more video. This is a really interesting one because this could be a short season type thing where we talked about Gunnar Heinzen's presentation about lost time or added time to our timeline. This video was interesting. I don't fully subscribe to this, but it's interesting. More people are talking about this now.
Did you know that it is possible that we are living in the year 1728 instead of 2025? Now, this is a very interesting theory called the phantom time hypothesis, where it suggests that 300 years of history never actually took place. In the 1990s, a German historian named Herbert Illig came up with this theory, suggesting that the Roman Emperor Otto III and Pope Sylvester II altered the calendar to be the year 1000, purely because it sounded more significant. This would be like a coffee shop opening up last year and changing its sign to say serving coffee since 1967 versus serving coffee since yesterday. It just sounds better. Anyways, let's look at the evidence. Up until the year 614, the Roman Empire was still around, and we have tons of records of war, leaders, daily life. They built major cities, aqueducts, and advanced technology, like inventing concrete, road networks, even paper. And then, after the year 911, we have lots of books and documents around medieval Europe. People were inventing mechanical clocks, windmills, better farming tools. But between those years, there's almost nothing. No big advancements, no major discoveries, virtually no change in population, very few written records. This is why this time is often referred to as the Dark Ages, because we literally don't know too much of what actually took place. So did just nothing happen for 300 years? Well, let's look at architecture. In the 600s, the Byzantine architecture was very popular. It had these big domed roofs, golden mosaics, and highly decorated interiors. Now, if you look at the Roman-esque architecture, which was popular in the 900s, they have a relatively similar build. Large fortress-like buildings with thick walls and stone carvings. If 300 years did pass by, wouldn't we see a bigger difference in architecture? Suggesting that buildings like these were actually built closer together and not 300 years apart. Back in those years, the calendar wasn't as solidified as it is today. In fact, they had 7 major calendars being used at the time, all of which would track time differently. So it is very possible that time was added or removed in this time frame. It happened, and more than once. So that is the bulk of the theory as to why we could actually be in 1728 and not 2025. Come back tomorrow where I share research on the other side of things, where those 300 years went and what actually took place in them. Be sure to like and follow for more fun videos like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.
We know what happened in between those. The day of the Lord, Judgment Day.
The Lord
happened.
for sure.
I mean, that,
totally what
to
happened.
me, it's funny. It's like the guy he's getting close, but yeah, like the idea that they just said they wanted to change the calendar by 300 years just because it sounded cooler. That is stupid. Like that's really stupid. But it is interesting that they concluded that they changed a date to 1000 AD. That lines up with what Gunnar Heinzen said. Of course, they don't go as far back, but they attribute the lost time to be in between, basically around the time we talk about 536, like the 6th century, and then to the 9th century or the 10th century. But what they don't go as far as Gunnar. So Gunnar obviously takes out time out of mid-antiquity and early antiquity. But yeah, like that's interesting. But that's what Gunnar Heinzen says is they basically started to date things at 1000 AD. Now, I mean, like, so this is more than one person obviously having these kind of theories. And so this was a different German guy than besides our guy Gunnar. But he still concludes that somebody changed the date to 1000 AD. I think you really have to ask the question, especially based on the stuff we've learned, why would it be 1000? Why would they change a date to 1000? Because what Gunnar said is these people believe they lived after there was 1,000 years of Christ's reign. I think that is because again, why would you conclude that it was 1000 AD? Because these people would know that if they believe, because again, these people are largely Christian at this time. If they knew that they were closer to Jesus, why would they try to put themselves further away from him?
Yeah, it's a pretty, I have a theory. We're either losing 300 years off a calendar, 500 years off a calendar, or 1,000 years off the calendar is my
Gunner
kind of
said
theory.
700, so it could be in between those.
It could, yeah, okay, that could make sense too. But like, I think we're losing one set number, and it could be a variation, and it could just be like somebody thought it would be a practical joke to mess up the calendar, and then it just kicked on and see if they can convince everyone to
no, they
1,000 years,
practical
right?
joke.
Well, I'm just saying, like that's the ridiculousness of this sort of theory that they have here. But like, obviously, there's it was intentionally removed or added or manipulated on purpose, and they did it cohesively with every calendar eventually got into alignment with whatever this narrative is. But imagine having a calendar like constantly and trying to unify all the calendars. There's going to be some stuff that's going to fall off, it seems like. And maybe there was, multiple things that fell off, or maybe there was a whole event that fell off because they didn't want people to know about it. And Satan was released. Satan did this intentionally.
Well, see, I think my belief based on the Gunnar Heinsohn research was that this was their best guess. I think this was their best guess because I think that if somebody had a more accurate calendar, where is it? Where is it then? Because do you think they could have scrubbed all the worldwide calendars to know what year it is? I think that the reason it was accepted is because literally this is the best guess they've got.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I found another article and it was talking about that AD chronology was really not accepted widely until like the 11th century. So this is right around 1000 AD, which kind of contradicts what we're told when we first were doing the short season research. I found that I guess it was in the 6th century that AD chronology was started, but it wasn't widely accepted until 500 years later. What are you kidding me? No, again, it makes no sense. Even as a Christian, like if we had a direct chronology back from Adam to now, Jesus showing up, obviously it's the biggest deal ever, but it doesn't mean you redate everything based on that, right? Even if you're like the best, like you're the closest with the Lord, you say like, Lord, let's change everything to when you were born. But isn't it just as significant that God created all of creation? So I would call that year one or year zero, whatever. Like day one is when he said, let there be light. So I'm going to just say that I'm going to stick with that, right? Actually, somebody made that point a long time ago. It's like, what's the greatest miracle in the Bible? So some people say the resurrection, but like when God created the heavens and the earth. I mean, there's really nothing bigger than that. So yeah, I would continue the unbroken timeline back from the start of creation. And I think most people would, regardless of how much of a Christian they are. So the only real reason why they did this, or another good reason would be you would start it based on the millennial reign, the new age, right?
That's what I think it is.
The age afterwards. Sure. And so like that, but yeah, so if it's not specifically that, it could be that, yeah, they believed that the apocalypse happened. The people who lived afterwards really didn't know.
Yeah.
That was actually interesting. It's funny because I mentioned that I just watched The Matrix again. And there's a part where Morpheus is saying like they're asking what date it is, and he's like, honestly, we don't know. Here's our best guess is this. So that was after really the apocalypse. After the apocalypse, they didn't know what year it was. They had to kind of a guess. They had to guess within a couple hundred years.
Bro, that's so true because it's like unless there was some type of worldwide apocalyptic event that everybody could relate to, like, and the fact that everybody went along with it, it's obviously something significant happened in the world. That everybody was like, hey, maybe we should readjust our calendar and start counting up from today. Like, why? Like, because obviously something happened. Yeah. Obviously there was some significant event. So it begs to allude to the idea that some type of like apocalyptic event happened that everybody would be like, oh yeah, I remember when the sky was black and the sun stopped shining for like a whole year. Yeah, that was because the Son of God came. So we started counting again from year zero from there and forward. you'd be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I think to me that's the biggest deal out of all this is that we talked about the year 536, which again, this is obviously just an estimate when this happened, because if they didn't start dating anything AD chronology until the year 1000-ish, well, how would we know when 536 was? Right? So again, I think this is where I've left off saying, like, just like Gunnar Heinsohn says, I believe a lot of the history, even the stories of it, whether they're biased or not, I believe lots of the historical stories, the historical characters.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't believe is the chronology. So even going back to that video that Matt talked about, and I know it correlates with the chronology we have and when this pharaoh reigned and how old everybody is. I don't know if we can verify any of that stuff, because it's like that. If we can't date the last 2,000 years properly, how the heck are we supposed to date properly back to the Exodus? Just because they dug up some old mummy, was there a date on there? Was it say rest in peace? And it said, like, here's the date. Was there a headstone? Probably not. So they probably don't know when that pharaoh died either. So that being said,
we know that time. We know that it lived for a story, because we know how long they lived and that their names were associated.
Actually, I saw a guy who I used to really like his content. He was trying to say that the chronology in the Bible's wrong because of Egyptian chronology. But there really is no Egyptian chronology. That's a lie. That's what Egyptologists want you to believe. But they don't know when these dates were. So they have an idea that everything happened in Egypt around 2500 BC. That's just made up. It's a theory. It's not a fact. So when you try to have the best dates we do have is basically based on the Bible. So if the Bible says something happened, it doesn't specifically name a pharaoh, but the mummy that was found could really be the firstborn son of that pharaoh from the Exodus. What I was trying to get to, though, I was probably taking a long time to get there, but what I think is the most significant part about that, besides the time change, the chronology change, was that there was this massive event that happened right around that time, the 536 stuff, the time when the sun went dark for 18 months. It was followed by a mini ice age. Like the Norwegians, the people in like the Norse mythology believed Ragnarok had come. Like literally, that's their Armageddon story. And then nobody knows about that. Nobody knows that happened worldwide at a certain time. Yeah, at a worldwide event that caused the fall of Rome, and why we have an AD, BC chronology. I think to me, it's like that is insane. And I think that's where people say, they try to question us about our weird little season belief. But it's like, but do you guys know that? No, you don't know that. You think that there's this unbroken history when even the history says it's broken. That's why there's a Dark Ages.
So they think we were consistently writing things down in one particular continuous culture. Oh, when our culture ends, we must carry on the dating record for the next culture. Yes, let's carry it on, the record keepers. Like, what kind of nonsense do you believe, bro? Cultures died, cultures destroyed, and all their records and their times was destroyed along with it.
This makes sense to me, too, in the way that if you think about, I remember having this take a while back about the story of the Tower of Babel. So before the Tower of Babel, obviously, it seemed like men were united in their rebellion against God. So God had to judge the whole earth. He had to do it. So then after this flood story, it goes right to the Tower of Babel, where again, there's going to be this kind of one world government that's ruled by a tyrant, right? So then God, in his mercy, destroys the tower, confuses their languages, separates the nations, right? And then he divides them up. Because if he didn't do that, he would have to judge the place again, because who else can judge a worldwide empire? Mm-hmm. Okay, so think about that in the way that if Rome did rule the world, and they had their governors or their kings or whatever you want to call them in all these European cities, all of them. And again, if you see the Greco-Roman stuff all around the whole world, I believe now that it was likely all around the whole world. So who could have fought against Rome? Think about it in the Bible when it talks about who can make war against the beast. Nobody. Nobody could take out Rome except for God.
The Lord.
Except for the Lord. So for this empire to collapse in the way that it did, at the time that it did, it wrecked the whole world in order for God to judge this wicked empire. And that's what it says. It says that the stone that was not carved by human hands came out and destroyed this statue. So God did it. And that's why we don't know how they did Roman concrete. That's how we don't know how they did all the aqueducts. That's how we don't know how they did so many things.
We forgot all of their methods of technology, but yet we kept how they were counting the years. So you know.
I mean, again, I think back to Hosea when he says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge," and so people don't know that there was a cataclysm on the level of what the Book of Revelation says, around, possibly
70,
like a little over 1,000 years ago. They don't know that, so they think we're crazy to question whether we're in the little season.
Yeah.
Maybe some of this stuff, the more it comes up, the more people start questioning the timeline, the more that people will have to be introspective and ask, hey, maybe when Jesus said this generation, he was not talking about the Rothschilds generation. He was talking about the one where he was at. And so maybe they'll read their Bibles again and say, you know what? If there's all this lost time or added time, maybe what Jesus said was true in the time he said it was.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
Well, we can pray and we can keep telling them, regardless, telling them in love. And you guys can send them this video to say, hey, you think you know what year it is? What if it's not the year you think it is? Well, on that note, guys, appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Check out Brian's channel, Demon Erasers on YouTube. We got Ancient Angels episode number 13 coming up, right, Brian?
It would be, yes. If this is 23, then it's 13 for sure.
So what do we got going on?
Unless we're 12.
What do we got going on in the next episode of Ancient Angels?
Oh, we've got dwarfs and little people coming up, and then we've got the Statue of Liberty discussion coming up, and we've got more about Japanese culture and heritage coming up. These are the next topics I think we're going to be jumping into, because we did a little divert in the last episode for pyramid stuff because of the discoveries there, but I think we're going to be back on track with the next stuff coming up here.
Yeah, great. Well, obviously for that episode, now that we've discovered a few more statues of liberties in the United States, maybe we can bring them up as well.
Oh yeah, we'll bring them all up.
Obviously, hit the links in the description. Once again, I mentioned Derek Olson's trip to Israel and Petra. Would be fun if you guys were there. It'd be fun if Brian and I were there as well. Anyways, guys, love y'all. God bless.
Later.
Everyone left me. Everyone deserted me. Jesus was always there. When everyone hated me and walked away, Jesus never walked away.